All right. So because I have the capacity to literally ramble for an hour about a new patch, I thought I would come back through and actually give like a reasonably length video about it. So this is what dropped in the new patch. And I'm just going to scan through. You got a list of new heroes. You got Vengeful Spirit, Meepo, Spirit Breaker, Spectre, Death Prophet, Pangolier, Rubik, and Wraith King. And these are your new heroes that used to be in the game that are back. Anti-Mage, Bounty Hunter, Enchantress, Phantom Assassin, Kunkka, Alchemist, Puck, and Lena. Now, they all obviously do their own shit, and they have their own alliances and everything. But you really can't appreciate any of that without knowing what's the new alliances are and what the old ones that left were. So the old ones that left were Warlock and Insect, I think. Is it the only ones? Scrolling on mobile is awesome. Oh yeah, and you lost Bloodseeker. So you lost Bloodbound, you lost Deadeye, and Druid and Primordial. So Druid got replaced with a new Summoner-esque build. And Primordial really didn't get replaced. Druid got replaced with Shaman, which is a 2-4-6 alliance, and it summons things on its own. Pairs really well with Summoners, obviously. A new one, Fallen, is kind of the replacement for Warlock, but not really. It has a heal built into it, and it's a buff. And then at level 6, Fallen, or at 6 units, every Fallen unit automatically comes back to life. And you pair that with Wraith King, who acts like a mobile tombstone. So it's kind of healer-esque, but not really. Swordsman and Rogue are kind of like two sides of the same coin. Swordsman is attack damage based on how many units are around you, and Rogue is an evasion, and when you evade attacks, you gain attack damage. Magus applies only to Rubik, because he's the only Magus, and yeah, that's what he does. It's when his health drops below 50, he gets a BKB. And I guess a BKB and a physical shield, so whatever. I haven't messed with Rubik yet, so I don't really know. Poisoner Alliance isn't really anything special. It just replaced the built-in poison attacks that units already had. So if you, any unit before, I'm thinking it was only Venomancer and Viper, only two that come to my mind off the top of my head. But yeah, any unit that does poison on their auto attacks, they don't do it automatically anymore. They have to have the Poisoner Alliance active to get that. And you need 3 to do it. Right, and we got some new items and some other stuff. Some items got rolled out. Some heroes got changed. But realistically, the things you should care about, like about how the meta plays and things like that. The main alliance in the meta was Trolls. And that's pretty dead, because you lost Witch Doctor, he was a Warlock. And so to get 4 Trolls, you have to have Troll Warlord. And he's an ace, so it's super late game anyway. And I don't even really know, like, I mean, Troll Warlord's a good unit. But, like, unless you're going Knights for the Batrider, it feels really weird to be holding on to a Batrider the entire game. And it's like playing 3 Trolls, you're only at the 2 Troll bonus, and Batrider has this thing where he casts a spell every other attack anyway, so like the attack speed really doesn't help him that much. So you kind of just end up with this dead unit on your bench until you get the Warlord, and even then Like you had to fight to at least level 8 to get it, so it's just pretty much dead. I think the only two it's viable in would be maybe Knights, because in Knights you want Batrider Dazzle anyway. And maybe Warriors, because you're going to want the Troll Warlord late anyway, but I think even in both of those alliances, you probably just, like, in Knights you want Batrider Dazzle, in Warriors you want Dazzle. And I'm not even 100% sure about that. Warriors are taking a huge hit out of this because you don't have Warlocks anymore. And so if you look at healers, like if you're going to try to do healers with Warriors, you really don't have much. Right? You could grab Dazzle for Trolls, maybe. Omni Knight's a Knight. Enchantress and Treant Protector are both Shaman. So I feel like Warriors probably got very significant hit here too. They did get Kunkka back, so you have more stuns. I just don't think you build them in the healing route anymore. In general, healing is down across everything. So let's look at Knights. Knights were, I guess, kind of the top spot because there was one version of Trolls was Troll Knights. Overall, their roster didn't change, right? Still Knights. Problems you have is, again, healers. Because you've got Omni Knight built in, so you can easily grab something, but before you could really easily argue for getting 4 healers with your Knights. And now I guess you still can, because you can grab Enchantress and Treant and get a free level of Shaman with your Knights. But level 1 Shaman isn't great. But I guess this is better than if they didn't match. Dazzle gives you a Troll to go with Batrider. So you can still do 4 healers with Knights. Probably a thing. Is it going to be as good? No way. Definitely not. Knights did get buffed back up to the 15, 20, 25 numbers. So, I don't know. I think overall, they're going to feel about the same as they always have. Realistically, Knights have only felt great when they had something else buffing them along, right? If there was a way you could easily jam in something like 4 Warlocks, Knights were strong. If there was an easy way to get 4 healers, Knights were strong. If there's an easy way to get 4 Trolls, Knights were strong. That's still kind of the same thing. They're still going to play the same way. One upside to them is that not many people are playing them right now. So there you go. They're not one of the new ones. They're going to feel a lot like they always have, in my opinion. Cool. So before we get to the new alliances that are big, Assassins exist again. You lost Nyx, gained Bounty Hunter PA, and Slark moved down to tier 3. So out of all of that, you went from Assassins are incredibly hard to play out of the gate. Like if you were going to play Assassins at a lowered level, you had to play something else with it, which is, that in and of itself doesn't mean much because it's at a lowered level, right? But like you had to have Druids with free stars or something because you just didn't have enough early game. Now you kind of do. It's entirely possible that in your very first shop, you could get a Bounty Hunter, a PA, and a Queen of Pain and just roll Assassins right out of the gate. What you pair it with, what you do, right? You did lose Enigma out of the Void group. You still have Void Spirit and you have Spectre. Spectre right now feels incredibly broken. She's a exceptional backline hitter. Pairs really well with Assassins because of that. And she's tier 3. So this Enigma kind of felt weird to pick up at tier 3. So even though you had a tier 3 Void unit, you were like, you really wanted Faceless Void more. And tier 3 units don't feel great until they're 2 stars, so it was a weird risk-reward relationship, right? Now, though, you can just buy Spectre and try to 3-star even. Pick up your TA when you get room, and then you can put a 1-star Void Spirit on the board if you want Void, and then as soon as Faceless Void drops, just throw them in. Get rid of Void Spirit. The other really good combination is the fact that PA and Ember Spirit are both swordsmen. Bounty Hunter is a rogue. And PA's 3-star ability is the fact that if you have rogue active, she gets rogue for free. So one thing you can do is early game, you can very easily grab up like a Jug, or Kunkka is better. Because he's got a stun built in, and he's pretty tanky. He can be your unit that stands there next to Jill and just gets eviscerated, right? That'll activate Swordsman for your 2 assassins, and how much damage they get out of it is really going to depend on where they jump to, right? If they jump to somewhere where they have a bunch of your assassins next to them, they may not get that much damage, but it is a free thing that happens, right? And you do want some frontline in assassins. So Kunkka works. But what you can do late is you can drop in Spin. Spin isn't an excellent unit. You don't have another knight to pair with him. But he does have a solid amount of HP. He's got 5 armor. Nothing spectacular, right? But he is a swordsman rogue. And that will hook your PA up with 1 level of swordsman, and it will give her a free rogue bonus if you're still playing the bounty hunter. Is it the best thing in the universe? No. Are there other options? Like if you just wanted the rogue bonus and you said forget about the swordsman. Yeah. Anti-mage is not good. Anti-mage does not blink. I learned this lesson the hard way, running him in hunters. Took me like 5 rounds to realize that my anti-mage was just walking across the battlefield. Meepo is going to be highly contested by summoner builds, so I wouldn't even bother personally. Alchemist is okay. Really, I mean, really you're picking between Alchemist and Sven here. And Alchemist is not bad. There's no insects anymore, so Acid Spray loses that extra bonus that it used to give you by killing off bugs. But it still does what it always did. It's minus armor, it's an AoE damage, just a good ability. And Alchemist is a unit that can sit there in the front next to your Jaw or whatever. He's 3-star now, which means he doesn't feel as good just dropping him on the field as a 1-star unit. You really kind of want to 2-star him, and if you're not keeping him, it feels a little worse. But I think realistically, those are your 3 main options as extra unit, right? Either you pick the Alchemist, the Sven, or the Spectre. Right now, out of the 3, Spectre is the one that feels absolutely broken. She's just really good. Will she stay that way? I don't know. And so, you know, it's just kind of play that as you will. I think you can probably afford 2 of those 3 units in any general playthrough, but you can't afford all 3, I wouldn't think. Unless you're just like hitting some amazing natural rolls and you're high rolling out of your mind, then maybe you shoot to level 9 stupid quick, you run Alch, Sven, and Spectre with 6 assassins, I guess. But yeah, there's that. Other things that change. Legion Commander feels right now. I'm really not sure. She will still run the same way she always has with Knights, right? But it's harder to pick up stuff. Warlock had already been nerfed with her, so that's not an insane change. Dragons is still a thing, and it still works with Legion fairly well. But I think overall, Legion's fate is kind of tied to Knights, so she probably went a little bit down in overall power, but I think she's relatively unchanged. Mages. This is what happened. This kind of makes sense, really. Moving Coddle up to an ace unit is a good change. He sweeps the board, right? Overall, is that a nerf to mages? Probably, but you did pick up Lena and Rubik, and because Puck is back, you can run Snapfire. So mages have a early AoE damage output source, and I think overall it makes them more playable. That is just my opinion, but I think it's doable. You lost Razor, gained Lich. Totally cool. Lich is kind of makes more sense right now. His main ability is Frost Shield, and his 3-star ability is the Chain Frost. Feels better. He's really good right now as a 3-star unit. The Chain Frost feels super annoying, especially because you can get a 3-star Lich out by like round 10 if you get lucky. So there's that. I've never been a mage player. I don't feel super comfortable with it. But in my base analysis of it, I think it's fine. I think it's probably still going to feel as high rolly as it used to, right? The thing about mages, and I've heard other streamers say this, is there was always 3 coin flips on mages, and one of them was, do you naturally hit early game units? That's still going to be a problem. You're still going to want the Storm Spirit. You don't have Morphling anymore, which is kind of scary, but you're still going to need to hit stuff early. The second coin flip is, do you get Bombkin? And then the third coin flip was, do you get Coddle? So I don't really know about that end game now. Lena is solid. She's a single target nuke. Rubik sounds amazing. Spell Steal sounds broken to me, but I haven't actually seen it in play. And a test board is not a good approximation of a real game. So reading Spell Steal, I read it and I go, if you 2-star Rubik, he's going to do so much for you. But I don't actually know how well he'll actually run. And Fade Bolt kind of seems underwhelming. So the big problem here is that like late game, I feel like you're probably running out of AoE damage until you get the Coddle. And so I still feel like you're still going to have that last coin flip of, do I get a Coddle? Except now, he's an ace, so it's even more rare. And there's your damage numbers. 175, 225, 275, and mage enemies take 35 and 70% more magic damage. So it's probably going to feel the same way. Probably have 3 coin flips. If you win all 3 of them, you probably win the game. Okay. Yeah. So out of the new alliances, what you got? There is one build, and I've yet to run this because in my other video I talk about this for like a couple seconds. I think my first thought is that it sounds great and that 6 Fallen sounds broken. I was right about that. And then later I said, I just don't know how you ever get it online. And I think I'm right about that too. 6 Fallen is pretty busted. Okay? Every single one of these units gets a free IO respawn. They come back with 50% health. And Wraith King is a mobile tombstone. Okay, and I mean, yeah, he's an ace unit, but he's a mobile tombstone, and he's not bad. Right, he's an ace unit. He feels good on the board. Combine that with the fact that you pick up a free level of Heartless here. Having one Knight is kind of weird. You can't really pair that well with anything. Chaos Knight's okay, because free Demon, never bad. Lich is a mage, so you're not going to pair that out. Terrorblade is a hunter. This is the one you usually see paired up here. And I don't know, maybe, like, I just don't, it feels wrong in my head because I'm such a hunter player that, like, if I'm trying to build this and I'm like, oh, I need 2 other hunters, I end up level 6 and I'm running 4 hunters and no fallen, and I don't have any fallen on my bench. I'm just running Heartless hunters again. So I'm not the greatest, but from what I've seen, if you get to 6 fallen, you can just win the game. It can just be over, right? That's how broken this can feel. And I mean, Abaddon and Terrorblade are amazing units. Lich, if you 3-star him, has Chain Frost, which is still very good. And then Wraith King is a mobile 2 of its own. Death Prophet is just solid. She outputs a lot of good damage, and she has Heartless built in because you're also going to have the Venge. So it's not bad. She's just late. I haven't had a lot of experience with her, but she feels okay to run. What I've seen of this overall, which, I mean, it's been not even 48 hours when I'm recording this. But what I've seen of this is, like, if you go into the game and you're like, I'm going to run 6 Fallen, you have a 20% chance of taking first place and probably an 80% chance of taking 8th. It's really good. It really depends on, do you ever get online? And it's just one of those builds. If you get there, you're probably going to win the game. If you don't, you're probably going to lose early. And that's how it goes. Having said that, the way I've kind of flirted with running it, again, has been Heartless Hunters. My biggest issue with that is Lich, because I just have no idea what to do with this thing. And he doesn't fit well into Heartless Hunters unless you also run Fallen. And so what you kind of end up doing is running Lich, Vengeful Spirit, and hoping for an early Terrorblade. And the thing is level 1 Fallen doesn't feel good. It's 250 heal and plus 10% damage. So you can position the Lich and the Venge so that when they die first and they buff your Drow and Wind Ranger or something, and that's about as good as you can do, and you're still hoping for an early Terrorblade. And Terrorblade doesn't feel good until he gets 3-starred, really. 2-star Terrorblade is okay. But the Lich really feels weird in my opinion. I've never 3-starred him in Heartless Hunters, so maybe that's just what I'm missing. But I always feel like I've got other things that I want to buy, and I feel like I'm just holding this Lich on my bench for no reason. But that's really the only inroad I see to it. There could be another one that I'm missing. The other new-ish build is Summoner Shaman. Here's your Summoners. Relatively the same. Let me check Poisoners really quick before I start this. I want to see who the other Poisoner was. There wasn't one. Quap got added. Dazzle got added. Both of those make sense in respect to the other 2. Alchemist kind of makes sense because Acid Spray. You need 3 of them to get the poison ability. It ain't worth it. I can say that with 100% confidence. I just don't see a build where this comes on as something you want. Viper isn't even an assassin anymore. Alright, this unit is just... You can at me on this one, I guess, because I don't know why you pick up Viper. The only excuse I could see for ever picking up Viper is if you were playing mages and you had a Snapfire and you're just not seeing a puck. Like, I got an early as hell Viper randomly, buy it and throw it on the board so you get Dragon. And then as soon as you get a puck, buy it and sell the Viper. Because this unit is just not going to Why would you? Why? Quap's an assassin. I guess if you're running Quap Alk in assassins, you could throw something else out there. But again, why? If Viper was an assassin, it would make sense, but he's not. Dazzle's a healer and a troll. Venomancer's a summoner. Like, there is basically zero cross specialization in this alliance, and it doesn't do that much for you. It is whichever 3 of these units you have will also poison enemies. I'd say probably great round 1. If you open your shop and you have a Venomancer, a Dazzle, and a Queen of Pain in there, sure, grab it and put out Poisoner and take your easy free win on round 1. Past that, I see absolutely no use for it. Okay, here's the big one, is Summoner Shaman. These are your summoners. Meepo is the new one, and the only new one. Meepo is like a weird Arc Warden-ish kind of unit, with the caveat that if one dies, they all die. Not insanely scary. He has much better stats than Arc Warden did. And when he's 3-starred, he's hard to kill. Okay, it's not nothing to take them off the board. But I mean, that's pretty much it. When he poofs, he makes a clone. Boom. That's it. And the thing that goes with it, though, is Shaman. These 6 units, they get a free summon at the start of every match, and it's a neutral from the other rounds. The Wolf is not really all that threatening. As long as you have some form of an alliance on your board, you'll probably still beat the Wolf without really noticing it. The Wild Wing can be scary because it dodges attacks, has a tornado, does some good damage. But the really scary one is the Black Dragon. And it's ranged, stays at the back of the board, and it does AoE damage. And it eviscerates everything in its path. And the really scary synergy you can build up here is in Shaman, Magnus is Savage, Lone Druid is Savage. So there's 2. In Summoner, which you want Summoner to also buff your Shaman summon. In Summoner, you have Lycan, who is Savage. So you can get up to 3 Savages real quick. Spirit Breaker is very good. He charges the backline and disrupts it. Bristleback and Tusk are still Bristleback and Tusk. Pango, I haven't actually seen on the board all that much. He's tier 4, and it's kind of late. Right. But whatever, maybe good. Shield Crash seems okay. I feel like Pango would fit in this build a lot more if he had the Raycast ability he has in Dota, but basically it doesn't matter. Pick one. Throw it on the board to get your 5th Savage, and then everything you summon and your bonus critter are just gonna stomp the board and rack up a ton of damage. And it's a total zoo build. And it just eats things, right? The natural counter to it is Brawny, and I've seen people run Brawny and win, but it's still, I mean, Brawny has the same problems it always has, which is if it doesn't come online, you're in trouble. And you have to get the kills. And one of the problems is that summons only count as a quarter of a kill. So it's not... It'll outlast these Shaman builds in the late game if it can get there. And sometimes they just don't. But right now, there really isn't a solid good counter to Shaman Summoner. It's pretty much your S tier build. It just puts so much stuff on the board. And you combine that with the fact, like, so I mean, out of your summoners, you really kind of need Nature's Prophet and Lone Druid. Probably want, if you're going for Savage, you want Lycan. And then you can kind of pick, do you want Meepo or do you want Shadow Shaman? You don't have another free troll anywhere. Shadow Shaman's a good unit. Meepo is also scary as hell, though, if he gets 3-starred. And if he gets 3-starred when you're playing on this board where a full half of your alliance is summoning things, there's a good chance that he's not going to get focused enough to take him down. So, you know, if you really, I mean, I think really it comes down to Meepo, Shadow Shaman, Lycan, which one of those or which 2 of those 3 you throw in, but any of the 3 are probably pretty good. Okay, I have no idea how long that took. I tried to make it faster than an hour though, so. Alright, I will catch you guys later, and I'll try to get a few games up, play something. Probably start with Assassins because I'm more familiar with them. See ya.